Oh, looks like it's finished. That was way faster than it used to be. This new version is making the game way more responsive. Plus we can actually play with the expansions too. I don't know how much they are added to the mod pack, but if we can build actual robotic parts in RP1, that'll be pretty fun. And we're loading in. Great. Which nobody can see because I put the camera on the wrong side. So hopefully that fixes that. Sorry about that audio. That was probably a bit of a mistake, but accidentally turned on my stream in another tab, so some audio overlap. Okay, so yeah, there might be, yeah, don't need any, think we have any special rules. Alright, so hide this window. Choose preset, there should be an RP1 preset, yep. Close window. Principia, great. See Kerbal construction time, do we have any upgrades? No, we don't get any upgrades to start. So let's see. Unlock parts, first launch. So let's go ahead and accept that. I don't think it runs out. R&D, we're gonna have to start a part. Let's wait a couple seconds. I think, yep. And we're not gonna buy all of those parts at the moment. It takes a little too long to get that. Alright, so I will have to remove some of those parts. Nice. So these are some late World War parts. Let's go ahead and get the procedural avionics unit. I shall remove that window. We're not going to need that. Alright, so fuel tank. Should have procedural service module tank. Let's see what engine we're going to use. So we have the Tiny Tim. That's a nice starting booster. We have the A4 Aero B. That's an RD100 series early. Let's go ahead and does it so what kind of propellant? So looks like we get one ignition and we've gotta make sure that it's the correct kind going to fuel and make sure it doesn't seem to have to be pressurized. That's nice. I'm kind of glad about that. And we should have a launch clamp. Well, that looks fucking awful, but should be fine. Let's go ahead and there we go. So, yeah, since this hat needs ullage, that means that I think the tank won't be pressurized. Not quite sure. Alright, then let's take one more tank and make a nose cone for this rocket. Where did there's our... So... somewhere here. Jab, Delta V stats. Thrust to weight ratio is 9. That is... hilariously overpowered. Let's... well, apparently... oh, yes, and then the other thing before we put in anything extra, let's go ahead and I think I'm going to go with periodic table naming, so starting with hydrogen. And that'll be a nice naming system. I've done that on several of my playthroughs. So, communications antenna. Upright, and then shift it into the nose cone. Maybe a little bit farther. That allows us to get a nice looking nose on this rocket. So the one thing that's going to be special about this rocket is that we're not going to be landing it at all. Oh, and that was really cool. Let's make this take a bit longer. Fill it with... let's go ahead and actually... that'll take 400 days to build this. First rocket, that's pretty high. Save and create one. Might even be able to get space on this mission. So 400 days. I think all we can really do is just speed time up. And we are here. Let's go ahead and roll this thing out to the launch pad. And launch. We have our first launch. We might be able to get a whole bunch of contracts. The only thing is, this rocket's kind of overpowered for just a first launch. So I probably should have gone with a slightly smaller and less time-intensive rocket. Let's go ahead and rearrange the staging a bit. Vessel is complete. So that's one thing I totally forgot, is usually what I do is I go ahead and put these in action groups to make it easier to control them, but because this is, I haven't been on here in a while, I totally forgot about that. Oh, well, no SAS modules, and we totally forgot the battery power either. So I assume we got our first launch. That was anticlimactic, to say the least. Well, did we? Oh. Well, that's fun. So, I think we need to get off for a bit. I need to get some stuff together and make sure everything's installed right. The game seems to be playing perfectly fine. Well, or we can go ahead and build so the first thing to do is add a set of wings. That'll take a little extra time. Okay. I'm kind of surprised because tanks and see, can we add a here's the well, wow, that's amazing. Apparently, procedural tanks isn't quite as friendly to actually doing useful stuff as it's supposed to be. Is it cylinder? Let's go ahead and adjust that. Alright, and then here. Top. Let's make that a new point. Should take UI. Let's see. That is... Well, I suppose that is plenty of electric charge. We will need that comms antenna again. And this time I think I'm gonna just... Well, might as well adjust it into the body of the rocket anyway. Let's do that. That gives us the little dot effect. And it'll be longer this time because we have all the different parts. I probably should have tooled some of it, but I'll be rebuilding after this. VB, let's see. Yeah. That's a heck of a long time. And let's check mission control to see if we have any available contracts. Yeah, they're not going to offer any contracts until we've actually done something. So I guess we can get all the launch to X meters or launch a rocket past this speed for a lot of the different areas. And we can also we'll probably get into space on this one. I don't know exactly how high 3,000. Oh, nice. Vessel info. No, Delta V stats. Let's go ahead and open that up. That we're looking at about 27, and we can rearrange that. So, and the vessel is powered this time. So let's go ahead and chuck these right over here. And if you haven't played normal Kerbal Space Program before, one thing you will probably notice is the fact that there's a range safety button. That's for blowing up the rocket if you feel like it's going to get too close to a building, I assume, because it'll cost a considerable amount of money to repair those buildings. But let's check. Okay, so we do have some amount of control over the sides of the booster. That's a little different from normal RPO, where you have pretty much no control early on because the rockets are unable to use SAS. Rocket engine is go. And we have liftoff. So log the temperature. Let's go ahead and transmit that. Well, we may not go to space today, but we will, at the very least, break some speed records. Our first flight and broke the speed record for several different things, so that's pretty nice. So we've got a bit more money to mess around with. We will have to watch out for what our contracts are after this, because that was not very good with the... Got a little bit of money back from that. See what they're offering us now. Go to space. And so that milestones are nice because they're not gonna wait for us to fail because we ran out of time. So, and we have a slight bit of science here to go ahead and maybe upgrade. So we can upgrade some of our engines, or we can go for supersonic plane development. That's what I think I'm going to go with. It allows me to build some airplanes and get manned flight going early on. So let's see, material science, some more fuel tanks. Most of these kinds of fuel tanks I don't really care about because I'll be using mostly procedural. Then early tracking systems, there isn't anything in this because it's really a gateway to the actual arrangements of parts. So I think I'm also going to research that. So that's not going to take too long. And while we're doing that, let's see. Construction time upgrades. So tech is going to take around 200 days, so let's go ahead and start designing our first sounding rocket. So from what I saw in the mission control, which we're not going to accept the contract yet because it takes a while to actually design it. Sounding. We have to get to around, I think, 4,500 meters? That sounds right. No, 45,000. Yeah. Well, maybe it's 4,500. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and check, but at the very least, I'm going to start with the Atlas textures. I found they look a lot nicer than some of the other textures. And let's go ahead and this time I'm going to put this actually embedded in the rocket sideways. Alright, so procedural tank there. And you see how that's just sticking out slightly. Atlas textures. Alright, so we've got the that's interesting one. I think I'm going to go with the RD100 again, though, given that it's served pretty well so far. So that's going to take some days to finish building. So we're going to make that full of electric charge. For some reason, power requirements, avionics cost. Here we go. How many tons is this rocket? It's 20 tons. So max. Oh wait. No, the mass of our rocket is 5 tons. So let's go ahead and make this length a long boy. Okay. So we got our wings, we've got some fire. Alright, so this is the avionics. Is this whole thing? No, just this part right here. So, we don't actually... Let's go ahead and bring this down to 7 tons. And let's just go ahead and check. That's 10 tons now. So we've got to... So that's 10 tons. Wait, nope, we've got to make it a teensy bit more. Let's make it 10.6 so that we can add on our bitsy science equipment. Alright, and then, okay, action groups. So, custom 1, that'll be log data, also log data, and then analyze telemetry. Custom 2, let's go ahead and put brain safety on that, because if I do want to build, mess around with it, I might need to do that. So then, other thing, this rocket's gonna be in use a lot because I'll be wanting to send it up several times to get more information, but I'm gonna go ahead and tool all of our tanks in order to make this rocket way more usable. So that was, I think I added 2 of them to the list because I'm going to be wanting to use it more than once, because we can't launch multiple rockets, or one rocket to do multiple sounding rocket contracts, and people are going to want us to do a lot of sounding rocket contracts. So let's look at the sounding rockets that we can take. Sounding rocket, 45,000 meters. So that's 45 kilometers. So we're going to want to warp time till the first of our rockets is complete. Well, first we have to wait for the launch pad to finish, and then we'll get supersonic planes into development. So we do have some money, so I'm going to go back into the VAB now that we have the airplane tech and start designing a supersonic jet or plane. Let's call that the helium one. Supersonic rocket plane. That looks like a great thing to build. It does cost quite a bit to unlock, but alright, so procedural tank, we're gonna need a bit of power. Let's go ahead and make the length really short. Diameter, we can make that right there. Go ahead and make segmented SRB. That goes along pretty nicely with the nose cone. And then, let's see, I'll go with a procedural fuel tank here. And then some fins. And also, let's see, we have access to parachutes? Yes, that would be under parachute. And 6 parachutes allows us to specifically land safely, as opposed to just crash landing the whole darn ship. Let's go ahead and SRB texturing. That's looking pretty nice. So let's go ahead and just need to be able to break the sound barrier in this thing. So basically it just needs to be able to get up to, well, that 1830 meters per second should be perfectly fine. And let's go ahead and add some rear parachutes. We can take off 3 of the ones on the front and make them on the back. That's nice. So this will take off, go into level flight, and then head out to the ocean to do to break the sound barrier, and then come in for a nice quiet splashdown in the middle of the ocean. So now that we have all those building and preparing to be finished, let's go back to alright, so here, let's just check. Okay, so for some reason, I'm not actually getting any upgrade points, which is odd, but I assume that maybe it's something to do with how it's set up. Probably you have to actually buy the points with the money, which makes sense since usually science takes money. So, altitude sounding rocket low. Oh, so now it wants us to go higher. That's okay. Let's go ahead and check. We'll roll our rocket out. Let's go ahead and put the rocket plane before the other sounding rocket, because we're going to be wanting to test our rocket plane. Another thing is, while we're waiting for this, let's go ahead and figure out where our astronauts are, because I think we do have to train them, maybe? Not sure though. That may be something that was in a previous version and is not in this version, because I don't see it. That was probably something that they took out. It was kind of a little both really annoying and sometimes kind of buggy. Especially with the renaming Kerbals to human names. That was funny, because sometimes the Kerbals would be named with Kerbal names and sometimes humans. They got a bit glitchy. Alright, so let's go ahead and looks like we're going up and steady. And let's see, so alright, so we have 2 things that we're trying to do, is reach 100 kilometers and also reach 55 kilometers. That should be fairly easy to do. The rocket's getting a little bit janky. Let's go ahead and just let it self-correct. Sometimes SAS has a bit of a issue with speed. At high speeds, even a little bit of correction causes it to go back to normal. Looks like we're starting to run out of fuel, and we are totally out. So that was an incredibly fast acceleration. 3, 4, 5, and we have completed our contract. Let's go ahead and transmit all that lovely, lovely science back to home base. And we'll just have to wait for the rocket to get up to 100 kilometers. I think we're going to make it because we're still going around a kilometer per second. That's severely fast. All right. 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. And we have reached the Kármán line, which means, well, let's go ahead and transmit that. I think we're great, and we're still going up. Let's check the map view. Earth apoapsis is 200 kilometers, so we're going to get up to space. I think it's about 140 kilometers. Yep, we can hear space. We got to space, so we can get a whole bunch more science. That'll be really nice. That'll let us upgrade our engines and all our stuff. And let's see. So, yeah, we still haven't broken a couple speed records, but 180. Let's see if we can make it up there. Well, I think we can. We're supposed to go over 200. Yeah, so if you've noticed, the little round control ball is a totally different pattern. That's because it's from Principia, which changes almost everything about how physics works. Like you can see, it's showing a path of where we went, and also a kind of prediction, because it actually will interact with other bodies, not just Earth. So there are some things that make it a little harder, like docking. Especially around planets, it will be a little bit different because of the lack of actual maneuver nodes. You have to do maneuver planning, which it's both a lot better and somewhat worse in this version, because it does allow you to do a lot more cool things, like Lagrange points, or I can't remember now what it does. Some more cool things with gravity assist, but then on the other hand, it's much more difficult to use correctly, because it's actually using way more realistic physics. So you can get some really funky orbits, like a almost square looking orbit around the moon, just because of where the Earth is. And we're coming in, probably going to land in the ocean, but this rocket was never meant to return, so let's go ahead and give it a good send-up with a bang. Let's see. Alright, so we've got a lot more money. Some people are offering us more contracts. They want us to travel a specific distance, and also go on a suborbital trajectory, which we can easily do with our next missile. We also have this X-plane contract, which means we need to... so they don't want us to go supersonic. Alright, so that's interesting. Oh, break the sound barrier crude. That has a duration of 365 days. So let's go ahead and get our Supersonic plane, ready to go. That's like or 2/3 of a year. That's a pretty long time. So now while we're waiting, so let's go ahead and hit rollout on that. Go ahead and accept the mission. I think break the sound barrier crewed. Let's see, what do they want us to do here? Stay at a specific altitude for 3 minutes. I don't think we can necessarily do that in this plane. Vessel's complete. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of science research. So, some turbojets, so jet engine parts. These are going to be less useful now. Let's go ahead and research the engines. RD102. Because we really want the high performance engines. Material science will also get us higher engines. We'll get some of the nice tanks. So apparently some of these stuff are kind of deprecated because they've released stuff that subverts them. Okay, let's see. So that will get us access to some better stuff in avionics, higher power avionics, and ion mass spectrometer. That's something that I want. Then also separation motors. Once we're actually building multi-stage rockets, these are really great because we actually have to get the rocket moving before we can start the main engine. So the little motors give it a little push, and then the main engines are able to kick in and continue launch. So these are ones that we don't want. Nice, nice, nice. So we have 3 left over. So let's go ahead and continue down this path because we do have some of these cockpits and stuff that will be kind of nice. And that looks like all the stuff we can research at the moment. So 7 days. Okay, so let's go ahead and check. Fly at a specific speed. So we may have a little extra fuel for what we're actually trying to do. And we apparently do have to train the crew. Be nice if we were able to find a button for that somewhere. Let's see. That's life support. Remote tech, useless for this. This is aerospace controls. Deadly reentry, cat picture. Otherwise useless to us. There's an April Fool's mode. Well, maybe we need it in. It's this thing that doesn't show us what we need to do. So let's go ahead and courses, proficiency, X1. And then courses, mission, X1. Right, we have to, let's see. Alright, so it'll be complete in approximately a couple months. That sounds incredibly annoying. Let's just make sure that this breaks the sound barrier. Our deadline, we still have a year or so. .608, so we did overshoot by a couple days, but now we've got to train him. It takes 10 days, so once he actually understands how to fly the plane, it just takes a little bit to prepare for a mission. And we have successfully trained. So let's see. Jebediah Kerman will be flying this mission to go straight up in the air, turn slightly, and then take a little trip to Supersonic Town. That'll be fun. Alright, so let's go ahead and power up the main engine. Say 90 degrees. Looks like we are already at the sound barrier. Let's see if we can break any speed records. Just lost most of the engines. We are taking it slow. I think we may have just lost the entire vessel. Well, apparently that was a really dumb idea of mine. So, well, the first casualty of this space program was Jebediah Kerman. Let's go ahead and disable SAS. It's useless now. I mean, we do have the option of reverting to launch. So, should we? Yeah. I think I'm going to go the soft approach since this is the first time I've actually played through this pack. And we're going to revert to launch. We're going to go ahead and be way more careful with the controls this time and not try to overdo things. Go straight up. So we have we will be able to return home safely. That's all that really matters. So the interesting thing is we don't have any ability to make sure we throttle down the engine after we reach the sound barrier. So we probably will need to switch out what kind of engine we're using. Maybe one of those hypersonic engines. Oi, nice. Shoots, we were too high. So let's go ahead and, well, too high to deploy parachutes. That probably should be something that's automatic. Six, 5. So that looks like crew report. We can transmit data as well. 3 parachutes acting unparachute-like, but that's okay. carbon dioxide waste and wastewater. We're building up a bit of carbon dioxide. I assume the wastewater's from the humidity in the air that Jebediah is breathing. He's probably breathing a lot since his whole ship just blew up. We are running a bit low, starting to go down on all this electric charge. Let's go ahead and disable MechJeb. Well, that's not helping. Something's using up power. I mean, I guess a little bit of power is not that bad. I mean, we still have 6,000 volts. Alright, so coming in for a landing. Hopefully we don't bury ourselves in the ground too fast. Looks like we're going pretty slow. Not sure exactly how slow the minimum distance speed is for this capsule. It doesn't say. As far as I know, so there is a little bit of science, but not very much, because really, we're not. Yeah, let's go ahead and recover to the spaceplane hangar. We can actually reuse that capsule. Yeah, so there's not much science that you can get on the ground, because unlike normal Kerbal Space Program, which does allow you to do that, it doesn't actually really make that much sense in real life, just because of a space program isn't really supposed to be getting science from the ground. Alright, so he just had his retirement changed for a couple years. Well, I mean, we might have to get him back again. We've got a bit of science, 7 to be precise. Jebediah Kerman had fun, apparently. Recovered to SPH, so for some reason it recovered it to the SPH, I guess because it's a space plane. So we still have to break the sound barrier, but that's something for another day. Well, goodbye, and hope to see you in the next video.